Gen Z and Millennial workers may never retire. If global labor trends are correct, these generations can expect to work past age 75. But what will the world look like with a rising geriatric workforce? And is there anything you can do to retire with dignity?
Looks like according to this, no, there's not.
The oldest millennial workers are approaching middle age, and while they still have a long way to go before exiting the workforce, many are starting to plan for retirement. But without access to as many pensions or a reliable Social Security program, many of us are wondering whether we're going to have to work forever. The Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that the number of workers aged 75 and older is expected to grow over 96% by 2030. This is the only age group whose labor force participation is projected to increase in the coming years. All other workers starting at age 16 are expected to work less or see participation hold steady. Currently, only 45% of 65-year-olds in the US are retired, compared to 58% in 2000.
So what you're saying is people used to retire around the age of 65, but it looks like that's starting to slow down and people are continuing to work, which sounds like a bad thing. But is it possible that that's also a good thing because people are also living longer now than they were 2 decades ago?
Well, that definitely plays a role. The share of old people in the global population is rising due to increased longevity, like you just mentioned, but also due to declines in fertility. The World Health Organization estimates that between 2015 and 2050, the proportion of the world's population over 60 years old will nearly double, and the global population of people over the age of 80 will triple.
Wow, we're gonna be living in a world swamped with old people. It's like everywhere is gonna be an old folks home.
Yeah,
it's like
much.
Every corner. So in this new future world we're moving into where everyone is old, how is the health of people going to be able to keep up? I mean, there's a lot of people that are just not that healthy, and I don't know how they're gonna work past 75.
That's a really good question. Age-related health conditions can certainly make it harder for older workers on the job. Common conditions include cataracts, hearing loss, arthritis, dementia, frailty, falling, and urinary incontinence.
Peeing at work.
Peeing at work. But in all seriousness, we've seen examples of aging workers on TV lately with our politicians. For example, this month, 81-year-old Republican Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell froze up for a second time during a press conference in recent months, and he is not the only senile member of Congress. 90-year-old Senator Dianne Feinstein also made headlines after forgetting to respond properly during a defense appropriations bill vote. And then there's 80-year-old President Joe Biden.
Yeah, all those situations were pretty sad, kind of depressing to watch.
Yeah.
Really suck if that's where we find ourselves.
Exactly. There's no shortage of memes about the oldest Congress in history, but lawmakers working into late seniorhood is part of this larger trend. That said, there are plenty of older workers who have not experienced a significant decline in their mental or physical capacity, and they can still successfully contribute to the labor force.
So even if we are able to contribute to the workforce in our 70s and 80s, that raises the next possible problem of what if they're not going to hire us because we're so old?
Yeah, you're right. A 2020 study by the National Bureau of Economic Researchers finds that job applicants age 40 and up are 68% less likely to be offered a job compared to younger workers when employers are aware of their age. Now, when age-blind hiring methods are used, older applicants are equally as likely or even more likely to secure an interview. But after that interview, the job offer rate is 40% lower for older applicants versus younger ones. This shows that ageism is alive and well in the corporate world, even though age discrimination is illegal under US labor law. And I take offense to this a little bit because I'm getting in an age bracket that will, in a few years, I won't say how many, reach that 40-year-old thresh mark here. I'm a little annoyed that they're counting workers age 40 and up as being old. There's a huge discrepancy between being 40 years old, which is, in my opinion, in the prime of your career, versus being 70 years old.
Yeah, I'm looking at this and there's got to be something wrong here. This doesn't make any sense. Yeah, when you're in your 40s, that's when you're in your prime, when you're doing your best work. It's the 20-year-olds that are useless on the job.
I completely disagree. I mean, look, I was in my 20s at one point and I hustled. And you work for no money, it's not that great, and then you put in your 10,000 hours and you get where you are now. So I think that we're all valuable regardless of our age as long as we're working hard.
Yeah, well, in my experience, all the people that I've hired that are in their 20s are completely useless. They can't learn anything, and then by the time they do learn something, they leave to to go do something else.
You sound like one of those old people who's like, those younger generations, they can't do anything.
Oh no, I'm a boomer now.
Well, per the American Association of Retired Persons, better known as AARP, 2 out of 3 workers over the age of 40 have seen or experienced age discrimination at work, and this can range from not getting a job offer to being passed over for a promotion or outright fired. Now, there has been so much talk about diversity in the workforce that many companies have launched new diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. But the diversity conversation rarely discusses the importance of age inclusion.
Man, how did we get into the situation where in 2 to 3 decades when we were about to retire that we're just not going to be able to retire? Like we're going to have to work past 75, past 85, maybe until we're dead?
Oh God, I really hope not. But you're right, lack of retirement income is the main driver for working into old age. Some people want to work forever, but a lot of us don't. The Federal Reserve shows that 55% of senior citizens are trying to survive on less than $25,000 per year. Trying to survive. It is nearly impossible to survive off that little amount of money.
Yeah, no one can do that. That's not possible in America.
No, and that's why you often go to the pharmacy and you see old people standing there like looking at coupons and saying, well, I can't afford my medication this month, or I can't afford food. It's really, really sad.
Yeah, that statistic makes sense maybe in 1930.
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, during the Great Depression.
Yeah.
Well, the Government Accountability Office states that in 2019, only 10% of low-income households had a retirement account balance in 2019, compared to 90% of high-income households. Low-income workers, of course, are less likely to have access to a workplace retirement account, and the tax code is written to benefit the wealthy. When it comes to Social Security payments, the Congressional Budget Office estimates that the main Social Security Trust Fund will be out of money by 2033, meaning the Social Security Administration won't be able to pay full benefits when they're due. 1 in 5 adults over 50 say Social Security is their only form of retirement income. So this is a massive problem, and Congress hasn't bothered figuring out how to keep financing this program so that our generation will end up with nothing. So people are currently taking Social Security benefits early rather than holding off until age 70 when they're eligible to receive higher payments. And that's because they know that this program is running dry. But of course, taking less Social Security money means senior citizens are going to have to create more income on their own in the future.
So there's no possible way that we're going to have Social Security when we're older. Like that's just end of discussion, it's over.
Well, there's a possibility, but Congress would have to do something about it and actually care. And so far, they're barely even talking about it. You know, even with the presidential elections so far as of the time of this taping, I haven't heard anybody discuss Social Security.
Yeah, and before this video, I didn't even think about it. Now I'm bummed. I'll just work until I'm dead. It's fine.
Unfortunately, we really might.
So our generation is screwed, is what you're saying?
I mean, kinda, totally. This year, a study by the Nationwide Retirement Institute reports that 75% of Gen Z and 75% of millennials say they expect to work during their retirement years to afford living because Social Security is not reliable income.
Are there any possible solutions we can offer? Is there anything we can do?
Of course, you can get an awesome accountant and a financial advisor and have them help you learn how to invest and save for retirement. In my opinion, it's never too early, and if you think it's too late, it probably isn't. Just do it, or you're gonna end up Mitch McConnelling your way through the office at 80 plus years old.
Well, people that aren't making enough income to afford a financial advisor, like those people that are only making $25,000 a year, that is not a possibility.
But that's why YouTube exists. There's 1,000 videos, more than that you can go learn how to do this. Learn how to invest. Learn how to save for retirement. Just look it up right now on YouTube.
So become your own financial advisor is your suggestion.
Be sure to tune into Taboo News Today next week for another discussion on topics that are rarely part of public discourse. For my next taboo topic, click here and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Brigida.
That's a wrap.
Yay! Now we can go work forever. We're never going to retire.
Well, I actually enjoy this job.
Oh, I enjoy this job too, but I'm not making any money on it.
Not yet.
So I could do this forever and I'll make no money.
No, we will one day.